How are you doing this morning? Happy to be here. Let me go ahead and knock out my disclaimer. Thank you to the 3 people that were waiting before I showed up. Anyways, I am not a licensed medical professional. Nothing I say is intended as health advice. Everything is my own opinion. Nothing's meant to be attempted or recreated at home. I'm also not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is intended as financial advice, nor is anything I say intended as a recommendation for investments. I'm also a law-abiding citizen. Anything I say that happens to be illegal in this country or any other country around the world at the time of the recording or at any time in the future was simply added for entertainment purposes. Yeah, I would never break the law. That being said, welcome to my stream. What's up, Melindy? Thank you for being our first chatter. I wasn't really planning necessarily on streaming today until whenever I posted in the Telegram group, and I was just thinking, I was like, you know what, today's the day. So here we are. We're in for a last minute one. Marie, welcome. I was kind of interested to see, I'm trying to work out the logistics of the algorithms because, we did 2 streams back to back that were both about 4 hours long. And well, they weren't back to back, they were spaced one day apart, so every other day, right? And since then, this isn't the first time it happened, but it's the most serious time it happened. The 50-something% of my traffic since then has been coming from the shorts feed, and I've never posted a short. So they're putting something from the streams on the short feed, and that's bringing us traffic. And for that reason, we have less than 100 hours left before I can at least apply to get monetized, and we'll know if this is our official home here on YouTube or not. I know it's been a long process, or at least it was a long process for me, because I know a lot of you are really consistent and make it to most of the streams, which, by the way, hi and Noi, since you're one of those people. But remember that I never miss a stream. Even if I don't stream, well, I might not stream, but if I do stream, I'm there for the whole thing, because that's the way it works, right? So, I have a good 40-something, maybe 50 hours invested into this live streaming process, just on YouTube alone, not including other networks that have either banished me or themselves been vanquished. Rest in peace to Live Me, which I think has now become TikTok. I'm not sure, but we're shooting for the stars right now with the YouTube thing. I know that it's the hardest one to get, but I imagine it's probably also the best location if you can create some content that fits within their guidelines, which I hope that this does. Welcome, Mike Dez. Yeah, if you want to donate to the cause, that's what I'm living off of right now, so I definitely welcome it. And there's a whole list of resources in my bio. I think there's a Cash App, PayPal, GoFundMe, whatever I could find that was available, I put it up. So I'm not picky. If you want to send something, I truly, truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, and I will tell you that other than my basic survival, 100% of all my resources, my time, my energy, whatever money I'm able to come across, it's all 100% dedicated towards spiritual growth and continuing to grow my knowledge and happily bring it here to share with everybody. No, Mike, but if you want to try to come up with degrading things that I can do for money, you're welcome to leave my stream. If I wanted to do degrading things for money, I have a very good outlet to do those things. Currently, I've been doing that for, over a decade now. But smearing peanut butter on my face is not one of those things. So feel free to, well, Mike, I do take it as disrespect, and for that reason, as much as I welcome you to donate, I also am going to silence you for the remainder of this stream. That being said, does anyone have any questions? What would you guys like to talk about? So we got a weird crowd this morning. That being said, does anyone have any questions? I got shit talkers and people promoting their own pages so far in the chat. Nothing? Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a couple minutes before I call the stream, you guys. If anyone wants to come up with a question, I'm here. We can just stare at each other for a little while if nothing comes to mind. I'll give it a couple minutes to get going. And thank you for the positive vibes, Melindy. I'm glad that we started off strong today. SMG, I've had to remove you from the chat as well for promoting in my chat. Why is this person still talking? I don't know. I'm in California at the moment. I haven't been fasting today. Well, I kind of have been. I've been on a liquid diet for the last few days, but I'm starting my fasting. I'm starting today a super serious fast, and I've been purging myself out for the last few days to prepare for it. What's up, Ron? Welcome. Good to see you. Welcome, Julia. Did I watch the Argentina-Colombia the other day? No, I don't really watch television or subscribe to any sports stuff, but to each their own, I did see something recently where some guy got shot in the leg with a rubber bullet on the field, which I thought was an interesting thing that happened in sports. Um, that was pretty crazy. Don't think, welcome. Good to see you. Let's see, we're 10 minutes in, you guys. I need some questions. I can't operate. I didn't prepare anything to talk about um, on here, though. So if you guys have a topic, let me ask you, did anyone watch the last 2 streams in total? I know it's a lot, the whole 8-hour thing, but Kathy, I don't even know what your question was. I might have accidentally deleted. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I missed your question, Kathy. I see it now. Kathy says, "Hey Bruce, how are you? Do you have a good circle of friends? Do you have friends in the industry?" And no, no. I guess I have a couple friends in the industry, but none in the States. So. Since I'm here right now, it feels kind of like no, but I have friends that I met in the industry in Europe. And even though I've never been to Russia, a lot of my colleagues from Europe are from Russia and have since returned. And so I have a bunch of friends in the industry that are in Russia, though I've never been to Russia. And so, yeah, but as far as the United States goes, I mean, there's people that I consider friends that are like directors, and I have one of my old agents that I'm still friends with, but I don't really see them that much outside of work. And even my friend that used to be my agent has left California long ago, and I haven't seen him for years, but we still talk occasionally. But I don't know. I guess I don't really have a huge circle of friends in the industry. When I was in LA and at like the peak of my career, when I was like working a lot, I was kind of competitive, I guess you could say, and I guess I never really like did the keep everyone close kind of a thing. I was more just like more on my own little warpath of a sort. Not that I was like doing anything, but other than being the best that I could be. But I was, I didn't really have a lot of time to do anything other than work to begin with, because I worked so much. Like sometimes I would go almost 3 weeks without a day off. So it's pretty. I never really got that close to a lot of people. Plus, you got to realize the industry is more or less like, aside from a few people, it's a pretty transient industry. A lot of people kind of come and go. A lot of people aren't from here to begin with. They're just stopping through to work. And the other thing is like, there's a lot of drama, in the industry, and I learned pretty quickly the best way to stay out of the drama and the best way to keep rumors from getting started is to not interact with people too much, because right about the time that somebody decides that you're either a threat or they don't like you for whatever reason, or you worked with their girlfriend, or you know, their boyfriend doesn't like you and is, you know, using his girlfriend as an outlet to spread bullshit. Like, there's just so many different things that happen and can happen that it's like it kind of shined out to me as a kind of a path of least resistance to just kind of go within myself and kind of be like a bit of a lone wolf, you could say. And so I've really just stuck with that. You know, just kind of, even now that I've put the industry in the back burner at the best, more or less like burned it to the ground. I just haven't changed since then. I've just kind of stuck with the policy and, you know. Do I know Russian? Я говорю чуть-чуть по-русски. I don't know how to say much, but I can say that, you know. Do I do some sports nowadays? Mostly just yoga. I've been, you know, inventing my own yoga. And it's kind of like a self-discovery based kind of a thing where I'm basically looking for whatever is flawed within my body, like flexibility wise and, you know, within my fascia and also my strength as well. And I'm just kind of locating those like trouble spots and then, you know, making up exercises and stretches and things to work on those. But it's an interesting thing because, you know, since most of my physical trauma, like, is literally from doing, being in the business and doing whatever I did on camera for many years, you know, because all that physical trauma was actually caused by sex, by me reverse engineering the damage that I did to my body from doing all these certain motions all these years, by me reverse engineering it into like a yoga style to release that trauma, inherently, because the trauma was caused by sex, I'm actually in some weird way inventing yoga that is in some way for sex or beneficial to sex, or more should I say that it's focusing on the muscles specifically used during sex. And it's not even that I'm like doing that consciously or intentionally, it's just that because I did that so much and that's where my trauma lies, that as I release it and as I discover these certain muscles that maybe I didn't consciously realize that I was beating the hell out of for so many years, that in fixing those, I'm also figuring out what type of positions and stretches and exercises benefit those specific muscles the most and rehabilitate those muscles the most. So it's actually a really interesting system of learning that, because it's based upon certain physicalities and not just theory or science or knowledge of any sort, because I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm just literally feeling out my own body and then realizing where those specific hang-ups came from. So, and in doing that, I've now realized that the things I'm doing to fix them is probably going to be beneficial even for people that don't have that same physical trauma but are trying to accomplish improvements in their abilities to do the things which I did on camera for over 10 years. So that's interesting. see, one second. Julia says, well, what's interesting to me is that the U.S. will host the next World Cup, and the final Sunday was a total riot. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know any of that, but I can only imagine what a U.S. hosted World Cup could be like. That sounds like a riot to me. I don't know. But, you know, riots don't have to be all bad. Sometimes riots are fun, right? No, just kidding. Just kidding. Not promoting riots. Let's see. Welcome, Suka. Kathy says, since you said that you live off the Cash App thing, is your plan to grow your social media channels to be financially stable, or do you have other plans? I don't know if I would say that that's the plan, but that's the hope or the shot in the dark right now. You know, even if they don't approve my monetization, I'm happy that I came on here and shared this whole spiritual journey with you guys, because I mean, it's just a beautiful thing. Like, who could have ever expected? I wasn't seeking it. I just was living my life. You know, I was making my own rules. I was doing whatever I wanted to do. You know, I was trying to better myself. I was trying to purify my body and stuff in so many ways, without knowing that it would ever eventually lead anywhere. What I've since discovered is quite literally beyond my wildest dreams and imagination. Like, whatever I could have imagined, even beyond spirituality, but like in the world of the occult or magic or fantasy, whatever you want to call it. Like, I never would have expected all this to be the reality and the nature of the world. Like, you know, and I always loved that kind of stuff. Like, I loved the quote-unquote fantasy fiction type genre of things, right? It's just so shocking to me to now find out that it's like wasn't fiction at all, that it was actually all like a big part of the system of hiding the reality of spirituality and the occult and the esoteric and all that. And that yeah, they just like literally they start feeding you the Disney and shit from a young age. You see everything that's true and what's real, but you see it depicted as a cartoon and as fiction and things like that. And they hit you with this throughout your entire life, all to come to find out that they depicted it all in a fictional way, because that's the way that hides it from you the most. If you didn't already have it all laid before you under the context of it being totally fiction, fantasy, and unreal and impossible, and instead had science shoved down your throat, you know, as the only truth, you know, you would notice. You'd be like, oh, hey, there's a lot more going on here than, you know, electricity and matter. You know what I'm saying? There's, that you would notice. But because they showed it to you your whole life, they showed it to you in the context of it's not real, it just flies right past your eyes. And even if you see something which you can't explain, you rationalize it away. You just go, oh, there must be an explanation for that. It's a fucking weather balloon, blah, blah, blah. Just as a, you know, example of another bullshit excuse that they use a lot. But, yeah, it's, the thing is, yeah, we're about 100 hours away from trying to monetize the YouTube thing. And, you know, aside from the world of male and female interaction, which I'm still, maybe I'm not partaking in all the time, but it's part of the reason why I'm not partaking all the time is, you know, because I'm replenishing the magic there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm making it special again by refraining from it for a while. That aside from that, I really like interacting with my fans. And I really, you know, as much as, of course, we can't avoid the trolls and, you know, especially when we start having the streams pushed out onto the broader internet where just random people who don't even know me are subscribing. or more so when I am advertising it on places like my Twitter, where I really just mainly promote the adult stuff. And so we get people who also, you know, are holding a grudge over past political outbursts and stuff that I had on Twitter, especially now that we're going into a new election year and all these same demented people are riled up again. You know, aside from all that, I love the new group of people that I'm attracting with this new topic and this new type of content. Not that I've even really planned all this out. I just went on and was like, hey, yo, I discovered something, and then, you know, did a bunch of Q&As, and realistically, you know, this all happened organically because people kept asking me questions based mainly upon the spiritual subject and much less about the adult subject. So, and since then, it's just like the certain, not just quality of new people, but that has came into my circle of influence, but also the you know, bringing out that quality within fans that were just fans of my adult stuff is really intriguing, you know, because like theoretically, I think there was always something spiritual happening there, and I think that the people who were to some degree more awakened than others, I think were actually attracted to my content. Not all, but, you know, to some degree, that those people were more attracted to my content than other people because they were inherently and subconsciously seeing and sensing that there was something energetic happening, not just something that was some type of perversion happening. You know what I'm saying? That a lot of people were able to see some type of real love there. And even though, like, maybe those specific people that I was working with were just acquaintances that I was, you know, with for half an hour or an hour, that you know, what they were actually able to pick up on was the same thing which I was later to pick up on, and that's that my style was inherently Tantra, but it was Tantra that happened naturally, you know, because I had this, you know, fictional character, but now I've, you know, realized it to be real. But at the time, I considered it like my imaginary girlfriend of sorts that I would basically, you know, impose into whoever I was working with. But in some way, that act, repeating it over and over and over, took that imposition and actually made it real, to the sense that I was like invoking a goddess into these women for a short period of time. Or at least that's my belief. Anyways, I'm going back to the chat. 1 second. But yeah, to finish the question, Kathy, it would be great if social media ended up providing for me. I'm in a trajectory to, right now, I'm in the process of not only maintaining, but continuing down a more ascetic path. Where I'm liquidating everything physical that I own, and I'm trying to eliminate everything from my life that is outside of my own self and my own body. You know, and so yeah, that would be a beautiful turn of events, but it's not necessarily my motivation or what I'm banking on. I'm just you know, my tactic is more like I'm trying to lower my overhead to a point that I can never fail. You know what I'm saying? Because Um, I've already built up whatever I've built up, and if I can now subsist with almost nothing, and do that incredibly happily and with joy, gratitude, it's like I don't really have to worry about much more in life anymore. So, I'm more or less just, my bigger hope with the whole social media thing is, and if that takes off, is I would like to be able to go seek out more hidden knowledge that I feel is probably only passed on by word of mouth. I after diving into the various resources, like I'm a used book hound. I go to every used bookstore I come across and rummage through the whole thing. I don't usually read them all, I just collect them, but I've been collecting a huge library of esoteric knowledge, which I haven't actually consumed yet, but I've been collecting the library. And the little bit that I have consumed and looked into through searching for it and trying to figure out what items are actually on the list for the grab, I've also come to realize that the deepest knowledge, the most hidden knowledge, the most powerful knowledge is not knowledge that people are writing books about. That most of the people writing books about this stuff or talking about stuff, the vast majority have no fucking clue what they're talking about. They've reached like the lowest level of enlightenment possible, and not even maybe not even the lowest level of enlightenment, but just they've had some type of spiritual upgrade, and immediately they run and think, that they know everything or this, that, and the other. They want to go become Reiki healers and this, that, and the other. But the reality is that it's an extremely deep and esoteric subject. And if you really want the most powerful stuff, I believe, I haven't proven this yet, but I believe that it exists by word of mouth, and that you have to go to the masters and communicate with them directly if you want this knowledge. I don't think that it's something you can really find on the internet, on YouTube, or in books. Maybe you can to some extent, but the stuff that's not been doctored or redacted or anything like that, it's not going to be at Barnes and Noble. You know what I'm saying? All right, back to the chat. Noise says, what do I think about technology and life nowadays? I would honestly, if I could hit the button that would immediately shut down 100% of technology, I would do it. If I could destroy every computer, every microchip on the entire planet with a single act, I would do it. And I would have faith that I was doing a justice for mankind. If it was up to me, I would fucking cancel 100% of technology. I think that even our human lifespans would dramatically expand. I don't think that it helps us in any way, not the medical, nothing. I don't think that, I think the only things that I'm trying to think of what technological things that I value, and those things are, wow, that's so annoying. I don't have control over the music, so I hope I don't get a copyright thing, but some random person just started playing some bullshit super loud. But that being said, I don't even remember what I was talking about now. Back to the chat. Let's see. Oh yeah, the technology thing. Oh yeah, telephones, air travel, maybe cars. I don't know. I don't even know if we need technology to have cars. I think we can almost do that without microchips, or at least we definitely used to, so we should be able to do it again. It's nice to be able to talk on the phone. But all these computers and smartphones and all this shit, I don't know. I think it's doing a lot more harm than good, and that's not even including the worst case scenario of the future if AI continues, you know, I'm pretty sure it's already past the point of no return, but we can always pray for the solar flare, you know what I'm saying? Kathy B, what has been the response to unibrow? I like it on you. You know, obviously, the lowest vibrational creatures out there in the world are going to look for anything to talk shit about. They'll talk shit about the unibrow, they'll talk shit about the hair, they'll talk shit about beard, they'll talk shit about aging, like they'll talk shit about literally anything because they're like horrible, miserable people that cannot in any way, and they have no hope really for finding any kind of happiness in their life, that the only thing that they can grasp onto is to try to belittle and talk shit to other people. So of course there's a lot of that. Is there a lot of people that say that, oh, they love it, they like it? Not a ton, but there's also, you know, enough people that accept it, you know what I'm saying? And the reality is like, you know, the concept of that you have to groom yourself a certain way, especially of a feature which I'm sure at least half of men have, you know what I'm saying? And they're at home effeminately plucking their eyebrows so that they can fit into some kind of societal norm. It's actually really just sad to me. It's a sad part of society because, you know, yeah, it could easily be the other way. And then everybody who couldn't grow a unibrow would be sad and think that they were inept or inadequate or something like that. So I don't really pay that much attention to what other people respond or think about it. For me, it's not about that. For me, it's about, I'm tired of grooming shit just to be accepted by people that I literally don't care about their opinions, like at all. Worse than that, even less than do I care about their opinions, is that I literally pity them because they have an opinion about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel genuinely sad for people who are so material and like surface level that they see that beyond anything else. That yeah, I don't know what else I mean, there's nothing I can do for them either. You know what I mean? Like they are just hopeless, lost souls that are just gonna have to live out this life in misery and reincarnate, and hopefully they'll do better next time. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. I don't really think that much about it. You know, the only thing I really do think about regarding the hair and the unibrow and the beard and all that, which I don't really care for the beard. I'm more comfortable shaved, but like I truly believe that the hair, you know, being such a complex structure, and the fact that it tends to be more pronounced and focused in areas that have the most neurons and nerve endings. Like I just truly believe that it's some type of interface, either bringing in energy, putting out energy, having something to do with reading your surroundings. I don't really know exactly what it does. Maybe it has multiple functions, but I just don't believe that God designed us with like extra features that are supposed to be removed because they don't do anything or because they're not appealing. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe everything has a purpose and that we were created like this for a reason. And I think that you know, the people who have engineered our views of society know what that reason is, even if I don't, and that somehow cutting all that off or removing that weakens you spiritually or orically. And so I think that that's why this population has been coerced into having those type of opinions, because it's literally like a way of people basically getting people to like cut their own nuts off. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an act of submission, and I'm not submitting. So it's more about my reasons than anyone else's. It doesn't really, like, the amount that other people's opinions outside of my own matter to me is zero. Like literally zero. So it doesn't really matter. I don't really notice that much. Let's see. Kevin says, now that you're into spirituality so much, now looking back, do I see a deeper reason as to why you started in the industry to begin with? That's a good question. Like I said, I never really thought about that. You know, honestly, I still see the same reason. I mean, it's really just that I didn't have sex for 4 years because I was in prison, and I wanted to experience interactions with women after being deprived from women for so long. You know, like when I did that time, you know, I've told people many times, like, the only part of it that was hard from the start to the finish was being removed from women, from not having contact with women. You know what I mean? Like when I first got there, like I just wanted to smoke weed. And then after a while, like I missed my girlfriend. You know, then after a while I missed food. You know, then after a while I just missed my family. I just got used to everything else. You know what I'm saying? But then even after a while, I didn't even miss my family anymore. You know what I'm saying? After a while, I was just living there. Like that was my life. I was totally integrated into that system and that life. But the one thing that never stopped giving me pain and misery was being removed from women. Like I was 19 to 23 years old. Like I was, you know, and I had just discovered that I was extremely gifted. So I really wanted to interact with women, and you know, they stuck me in Pelican Bay, and that's like way up in the border of Oregon. It's just like out in the middle of the woods. Like it's just a bunch of like, there's barely even any female staff like working in the prison and stuff. It's like you never even would see one, or if you did, it was like from across the whole yard. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I just missed women so much. I just wanted interaction with women so much. And I realized that I had everything that I needed to go into the industry, and you know, I just made the plan, and I just executed it like with total precision, and I didn't miss. Yeah, I had a great time. Like I don't actually have anything against the industry. Other than I just don't trust the testing, and I don't like. You know, I still love women, and even those women love them, but I don't necessarily want all of their exposure to be all my exposure at this point. Like I'm doing a lot of work, like energetically clearing myself. I'm doing a lot of work purifying myself, and you know, I don't want to backtrack every time that I, you know, go to work and happen to get booked with somebody who is not been doing those things, or that has you know, been the opposite of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't really want to, you know, go that deep with a bunch of random girls that are, you know, spreading it around a little too much. You know what I'm saying? It's just, no offense to them, like, love them, like I totally get it. I did it for many years as well, but it's just, I'm at a stage when I'm putting that as a non-priority, and you know, also part of it is, you know, about having faith and trusting the universe and the universe's plan. Like I don't have to sell myself for money. You know what I mean? Like it would be very easy for me to cut my hair, pluck my eyebrows, and go take some poison swabs and start working almost every day, making substantially more than most of the population. But I find power in the ability to say no. Like, I find strength in knowing that I can do that and choosing not. You know what I'm saying? Ron says, you could do interviews with colleagues and some yoga videos in nature and post them. If they end up letting me monetize on here, I'm probably going to start eventually, once I feel more comfortable and more developed in my yoga that I've, like I said, I've been developing it myself. I'm not like I've only never done yoga. I've only done 3 yoga classes in my life. I'm not a certified yoga instructor or anything like that. I'm just inventing something. You know what I'm saying? Which I also think that this is the same way that it was originally invented, is because like I downloaded some type of knowledge about it. And I think that also, the original yogis that started teaching yoga and stuff, I think that's the same thing that probably happened to them, because it's like your body just starts naturally like doing these things with some kind of like hidden knowledge within your DNA, and you just got to like activate that. And so eventually I probably will, if they allow me to monetize on here, like create like a secondary thing where I'm gonna actually do sadhana and invite people to join me in that. But we're gonna see how it goes. I'm really try to just stay in the moment and go day by day, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really make too much plans for the future. Like, my biggest plan for the future is like I want to go to Asia, like on a one-way trip. I've never been there, but like it's a big enough place. Like, I have a feeling like I can eat up 5-10 years no problem exploring that part of the world. So that's really my main focus, is that I want to go to Asia. I want to seek out yoga, the top yoga. I want to talk to some yogis, get some knowledge from the yogis. I want to talk to the Taoists. I want to get some knowledge from the Taoists. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple of places and schools of thought that I've seen a lot more mirroring between the experiences that I've had naturally, and I've read and seen more of the things that I've experienced happening within certain groups of other people, that I want to go there. I want to interact and see what I can find out. If nothing, again, I'm not stuck on any kind of results, just like I'm not really stuck on having some like major success with social media. I'm just doing what I feel is right and going with the flow. So we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? Name D says, a simple question, but what did you want to do before you started working in the industry? The same thing I still want to do, or the same thing I am doing, I should say, and also the same thing that I was doing when I joined the industry. When I was in prison, I wrote a book, and I spent 2 years on that book, and it was just a fantasy novel. But when I've looked back through it, like the first pages and the last pages, so far so crazy different, even different handwriting, like everything's different, right? But then I started rewriting the whole thing, and just like the style completely different. Like, I really developed like a unique and well-developed writing style during those 2 years. And so me knowing that I had that writing style, and I had that outlet, and I had that ability to put my life out there, and this is before social media was like a really super popular thing, or I think maybe at that time MySpace was out, but I was locked up, so I never had used it yet. But I came up with this idea that since I have a way to share my life with the world after having developed this writing style, that I would live my entire life to be as interesting of a story as possible. Or, you know, at the time, like, I used to have this thing, I always liked the Dos Equis guy, and I said that I was going to become the real life Dos Equis guy, and that I would always choose everything in my life based upon what was most interesting and not what was most beneficial to me. Because in the end, I said that I'll just write about it all, and that's honestly, that's really the blank check of my whole life. And then I called my philosophy life equity, in the sense that if you're able to share your experiences some way, you have some outlet for those experiences, that everything that you do that's an experience has a value. And so, you know, I've been living my life accruing that value, you know, similar to like making a payment on a house. That's why it's called life equity. And in the end, it's paid off and I can just cash it in, and, you know, that's supposed to be the end of the story, kind of. You know what I mean? And I always thought that I was going to do that when I got rich. You know what I mean? Like, when I came up with this idea when I was like 21, 22. And so, you know, I always thought like, oh, when I become a millionaire, I'll write the book about how I became a millionaire in my 20s and blah, 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 blah. Well, fucking all kinds of shit happened. By the time I was, you know, 29, I was like, damn, I'm like in the thick of it. This isn't even near the end. And the whole spirituality thing, like, just totally took me by surprise. So, you know, I never really expected that would be the real riches, you know, but, you know, that is what happened, and that is kind of like, you know, I can't say that was the end of the story, but that's, you know, at this point I could write the life story and put that as the end, and it would be so much better of a life story than the one where I went and got rich and made millions in my 20s, which I made, but I didn't keep it, you know what I'm saying? So it's just amazing how that ends up working out. So to answer your question more plainly is that I wanted to be a writer before I was in the industry, and I still have every intent on being a writer. It's just that instead of rushing to write everything when I'm still young, I'm in the middle of my life, I'm experimenting with this whole vlogging, YouTube live thing, or live in general, to share everything as it goes. And, you know, in the end I can do the memoirs, but you know, maybe we're doing it live action in the middle right now. So that's pretty interesting. Marie says, well, there's probably more reasons like the one I mentioned. I don't know what you know, I'm a long talker, and I'm sure you wrote that a long time ago. I don't remember what you were talking about there, Marie, but if you refresh my memory, I can definitely confirm or deny. Practical manifestation. Hey Bruce says, hey Bruce, I hope all is well. I read the chat. I'll read the chat to catch up. Perfect. Noy says, how do you apply your spiritual principles to my current life? I mean, I do it in every way, shape, and form. You know, I fast, I get up early, I spend time in nature every day, I try to improve my body every day, I don't think negative thoughts, or I try not to. I don't associate with my ego or anything going on in my head, you know. I meditate multiple times a day. Working on you know, releasing physical trauma from my body. I don't let vanity rule my life and dictate how I look. I don't let money control my life or dictate what I do. I don't do anything that I wouldn't do for enjoyment. I don't do for money either. You know, I can't be bought. I can't be sold. I think about God basically with every free moment of my mind. Any time that there's not something else going through my head actively, my thoughts revert back to God and knowing more about God, understanding God in a greater depth. You know, trying to, you know, I eat as clean as possible. There's a lot. It's just every aspect of my life is revolves around spiritual principle. I would have more trouble thinking about an aspect of my life which doesn't revolve around spiritual principle of some sort or another. I would say that it's completely and absolutely all-consuming, and that there's, you know, I don't make room in my life, or I don't make room in my spirituality for my life at all. Like I made absolute room in my life for my spirituality, to the sense that I allow my life to revolve around my spirituality. I don't let my spirituality revolve around my life. So basically, above all things, though, is thinking about God with every waking moment possible. Anytime that I'm not thinking about God, it's because I'm deep in thought of doing something, or actively, like, my mind can't process that alongside with whatever it's doing, because the thought of God and things that I think about God takes up my entire mind. I have to use both sides of my brain. I use my logical mind, I use my subconscious mind, I use my rational mind, my irrational mind. I use every part of myself to think about God any moment that I can. And that's the basis of my spirituality, is wanting to know more about God. Isn't it healthier for the skin to not shave? Probably. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of exfoliation action there. But I don't know. I know that there's a lot of nerve endings around the mouth. I know that, the brain's in your head. You got the most neurons in your head. I know that there's big nerves that run through your brows from your temple, where these nerves exit your temple. And I know there's a lot of nerves down there in, like, the pelvic region. I know that there's a lot of lymph nodes and things under your arms. And I don't really grow much hair anywhere else. So what I see on my own self is that I see a concentration of hair wherever I have a concentration of nerves or neurons, right? And so realizing that, and also realizing that hair is hollow, that hair has a muscle and a nerve attached to every single strand of hair, tells me that it's an organ and it has a function. That function is either sending something, receiving something, or both. And I don't need to know which one of those things that it's doing, or all of them. I just know that it's doing something, and that's enough for me to say that I'm going to keep it. You know what I mean? Like, I forgot. There's even something for the Bible thumpers out there. I forgot who it was or what, but it's like, when they cut off the guy's 7 locks of hair, it took his power. You know what I'm saying? Like, they drop hints to this along the way. Or the Nazarite vow. You know what I mean? When, they say, don't even cut the edges of your beard, don't cut your hair, don't bring your hair with anything other than your hands. don't go near a dead body. Like, they give you the instructions, and they do it over and over again in all different texts and philosophies and teachings and stuff. Nobody fucking listens. People are more worried about getting likes on Instagram, or more worried about mean comments from people that they literally wouldn't piss on if they were on fire. Like, it's bizarre to me the way people operate their lives, but yeah, I don't know. It's just not a thought process. About the time when I start thinking about my grooming is about the time when my beard starts getting in my mouth when I'm eating. That's about the time when I start rethinking everything. I'm like, I don't know about this. Maybe I do need to shave, and usually I break down and do it. But aside from that, it's only that. I just don't want to eat my hair while I'm eating my food, but that's where my thought process kind of starts and ends, in reality. Everything else that I said is me thinking harder about it than I need to explain the reality to people who don't understand. You know what I mean? Kathy B says, oh, that was interesting what you said about grooming and societal standards. So would you be attracted to a woman that is not groomed according to society? Possibly. One of the hottest chicks that I ever, was with in my personal life, the first day that we ever met and things happened, she was definitely had the hairiest legs that I've ever encountered. I know that it's not necessarily like a total buzzkill or game killer. Of course, am I been conditioned the same as everyone else in that regard? Probably to some extent. I like to see everything, but I have had an amazing experience with someone that wasn't groomed according to societal standards. So I guess I can say yes. I don't know. I'm just going off of based upon actual things that have happened and not off of mental conjecture. But yeah, going from I would say yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I think about that right now, I'm doing I don't know. I mean, do I want a little friendship? But the thing is like, there's different, all different types of people have all different types of natural body types as well. Like, I don't barely even grow any body hair. Like, look at my arms. Like, my chest is bare. You know what I'm saying? Like, my legs barely have anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, even naturally, I would say there's probably somebody that fits everybody's desires, even naturally. Now, but a big part of it is being comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm comfortable like this. Like, I'm not affected by people talking shit or what other people think. So, that would be a big part of it too, is like, having the confidence to be like this. You know what I'm saying? If somebody just went and did the thing and was like, oh, I'm just not going to groom myself, but they were self-conscious about it, I would be less attracted to them than somebody who just did the things that made them comfortable and made them feel good about themselves and gave them confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be more unattracted to the lack of confidence or to the self-consciousness than I would to the actual hair or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And keep in mind, when I say grooming, I mean like grooming appearance-wise. Obviously, I still see value in being clean. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I don't think that removing hair and things like that necessarily has much to do with being clean. You know what I'm saying? It's literally like my hair is dreadlocking simply because I stopped using conditioner and using a brush. I just only use my hands. And just through, even though I separate it with my hands, and even though I still wash it with soap, it's dreadlock because I don't rub these crazy chemicals that are in the conditioner in it every day, like most people do. Most people expose themselves to all these chemicals. They have no clue what it is or what they do, but they rub it in their hair so their hair doesn't tangle. But the reality is that hair dreadlocks, hair mats and tangles up. So, that's what I mean by societal conditioning. Everybody likes a clean person, a hygienic person. It's just that we've been conditioned to believe that we have to buy products and put chemicals on ourselves in order to do that, and it's simply not true. It's just part of a marketing scheme, and it's also part of some type of, I believe, depopulation program where they want to keep as many toxic chemicals in, on, and around us at all times to help diminish our lifespan. Yeah, I'm keeping the unibrow, don't worry. Noy says, since you said you missed women a lot when you were in prison, how do you see women from your point of view when you were in the industry and now? I mean, I love women. Women are my favorite thing in this world. And that was even before I realized, and remembered my deepest love. And now that I've realized my deepest love, and I realize also that my deepest love has been scattered throughout this dimension, and that part of the pieces that have been scattered throughout this dimension is all of the women of this planet. I have an even deeper love for women than ever before, even though it's always been the thing I love most, and it was always the thing which I was most would ever do, even to the point that that I was able to not only just love for 35 minutes, but just love the entire industry, and my interactions with women that have the most questionable morals and values of probably anyone. Now it's like it's not diminished at all. It's just only grown because now I see part of my goddess within all women. And that doesn't mean necessarily that I'm available physically to all women, but it means that I'm able to see just different aspects of both positive and negative of my personal goddess in all women. And so when I see something that I don't like, I understand and I empathize that is a compartmentalized personality within the negative aspects of my goddess, which I love more than anything at all, so I understand it. But I still choose to gravitate towards the sides that I appreciate much more so than the sides that I don't appreciate or that I view as negative attributes within my goddess. You know what I'm saying? Kathy B says, have you ever been or want to go to a spiritual retreat where you meet people that are into the same things as you? I've never been. Do I want to go? I would probably try it out because I've never done it. But I don't. I would have to have some kind of pre-existing knowledge of whoever was there, or that it would need to be more than people that were just interested in spirituality. Like I'm interested in finding someone that has experienced it on the level that I've experienced it. Now, you know, even on if to have any type of any of the experiences that I've had makes it interesting for me, and I would probably want to talk to somebody about that. What's really, really interesting to me, and I really can't imagine there being a whole retreat or groups of people like this, more likely that I would just be happy to find one person like this, is that I would just like to find someone that really knows what I've experienced and where it's going. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, and possibly even I would like to talk to someone that's gone farther, which I don't know anybody like that. Or if I do know anybody like that, they have not shared in the level or the depth that I've shared it, and so I'm not aware that they've experienced it. You know. What did I spend the most money on? I don't know. Hotels, food, weed, gambling. I don't know if I actually spent money on gambling. I actually think I made money on gambling, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would say throughout my entire career, I never spent less than like 30 or 40,000 a year on food. You know, I ate a lot of nice restaurants, a lot of yummy food. I probably spent about that also every year on weed, at least. You know, I lived in hotels. I'm a Marriott Titanium member. I was a platinum or higher for like 7 or 8 years now. I know it's stupid, it's not much of an investment, but I'm saying it's like, you know, I was, I mean, rental cars, you know, for a long time. I didn't own a car, I would just rent them because I would travel all the time, so I always wanted to rent cars. I guess airline tickets probably didn't add up that much, but I've been on hundreds of flights. I've probably been on 300 or 400 flights. Legal bullshit, failed companies. I was an entrepreneur, guys. You know what I mean? Every time I'd save up a big amount of money, like I would always dump it into some new business that I would try to get off the ground. And I didn't have a lot of success with a lot of them. You know, I've had like a bunch of, you know, I had a vaporizer company. I had, I built a bunch of websites. I did this whole web development network. I did this whole web development thing. I did a big chunk of money got wasted on. I tried to build a webcam website that didn't ever get live. Yeah, there's, I don't know, a lot of things. Not, yeah, a lot of shit. Sounds like I'm at a party. Yeah, I need to like move. This fucking, they turned on the music in this place. I have no control over it. I'm gonna be so pissed if they copyright me for this. But I have zero control on public. Magic, welcome. And also welcome, Wigs. Let's see. Magic says, ooh la la, books sound like a whole series. Fictional since all woo-woo label that way, but living on the edge and pleasures going inward while letting your personality shine through. Yeah, I mean, you know, I haven't actually read what I wrote, my first book. I haven't read it since I finished it in totality, so I'm interested to go back and look at it since I was not spiritually active at all at the time. I'm interested to see like what I can see there of myself, of the prophet within myself, from back then, because that was probably one of my first really spiritual practices, aside from like my workouts in there. Like I used to work out in there to like a level that I feel like you needed God to achieve. Like I did 1,444 push-ups one time in an hour and a half. You know what I'm saying? And then that combined with the writing, I used to put on my earphones religiously every day for at least an hour. I'd put on my earphones and I would listen to Celtic music. And I would be writing these like crazy like fight war scenes and like all this stuff. And I'd just be like listening to this like woman singing in Celtic. Like it was like in my head, it was like, so I'd have such deep visions of like these fictional battles and things. So like it was really like an interesting release. And, it's almost like an out of body experience to my own imagination. So yeah, I'm interested to one day see. Plus now that I don't have to actually edit it by hand, I'm like, oh cool, I can just plug this into AI and they'll fix all my fucking grammar. It's getting much closer to me being like, hey, okay, maybe it's time to publish the book that I wrote in Pelican Bay. Do I use some organic soap or something like that from here? Yeah, I use like an organic like bar of soap usually. Sometimes I use like a liquid one, but I prefer the bar. But I usually use like the tea tree one, even though I can't stand the smell of tea tree oil myself personally. I still use it because it's antifungal and it kind of keeps everything from getting funky. So yeah, it smells like tea tree oil most of the time. Magic says, I love romanticizing the worshiping of my inner goddess, so grooming is part of the equation, but always remaining eco-friendly and Ayurvedic, not for vanity, but more for self-love ritual. And I agree, and honestly, I know very little about Ayurveda, but I believe it. Honestly, I don't get how it works. It seems very unscientific to me, which goes against the way that I thought for a big portion of my life. But after like experimenting with it, I find that I believe in it. And I think that they just like, they found an idol, a gold idol or something that was like 28,000 years old. There's like a little image, a little figurine of Shiva. In India, and that's just the little thing that they found. That's telling you that like that culture, that religion, and like that knowledge is going back like way beyond our known history. And it's just like what we know through science and stuff now is so minute. It's almost non-existent in comparison. So I don't know how all that works, but they do. And so yeah, the Ayurveda thing is really super interesting to me, and I totally I believe. I'm a believer. And then JDM says, hey Bruce, love your work, big fan here. What do you suggest to any person who is thinking about entering the adult film industry? Would I suggest doing the fan page? I probably wouldn't suggest it, honestly. What would I suggest if I had no choice to suggest it? Well, okay, so understand that like 1% of people on the fan site make 99% of all the money. So what that means is there's a 99% chance that you're not going to make very much. So understand that the internet's forever, and that whatever you put out there is going to be out there forever. And you should be really super duper proud of what you're putting out there if you're going to put something out there forever. So unless you're creating some type of content that literally you want to shine through to all of the world, for all of history, that you can put your stamp of approval on it and say that this is a source of pride for me. This is an act that I am doing for the betterment of mankind, and that because I want to share something beautiful with the world, and that I'm proud of it, and I don't care if everybody that I know sees it. I don't care if if future generations see it. That I don't care if people make negative comments about it. That I'm going to stand by it and say I'm fucking proud of this. Unless you can do all those things, I would say don't do it. You know, as far as getting into the industry, you could try. You would need to go to LA or Budapest. It doesn't pay a lot, but it is a way to build up a name for yourself to where maybe a fan page or something like that could be more successful for you. Obviously, if you're catering to men specifically, which I personally don't, but you know, I am aware that, you know, based upon requests and comments and things that people make there, that the vast majority of people spending money there are men, and are willing to spend more money on men who will cater to other men, which is not my description. And one of the main reasons why I don't make as much on there as I definitely could. You know what I mean? Like, I could probably make $1 million a year on there if I wanted to cater to other men, but I don't cater to other men, so I make a very small fraction. Yeah, you really just have to ask yourself, like, is whatever you're creating something that you're truly, truly, truly proud of, or is it something you want to try to capitalize on and hide from the world? Because that won't work. What book am I currently reading? I'm reading a book called Tao, A Way of Being, and it's just, I haven't really gotten that far into it yet. It's just, you know, it's hard to find any books on the Tao. I don't know that this one's going to be very good. I don't really have that high of hopes for it. But I'm just kind of like trying to get an image myself of like what life is like for somebody that is practicing that through the normal means. And I don't necessarily think that you need a temple or Daoshi to learn that. I think that you just have to be willing to factory reset yourself. But I am interested in what actually goes into somebody's experience that has gone through and done the whole Taoist teaching thing, because it's literally the hardest religion or philosophy or whatever of the ones that I'm interested in to find material on. Like, the cool thing, the beautiful thing about yoga, and that I really like about yoga, is like the yogis are happy to share most of their practices. They're happy to share most of what they know and all that, but the Daoshis kind of keep it all hush hush. They don't really like share that much, so it's a little bit more of a grind to find stuff that you can apply there. But for me, you know, it's like the purest form, you know. And there's also some experiences that I've had which I haven't seen mentioned in yoga, but I have seen mentioned in Taoist philosophy, like the thunder palm and things like that. So, plus also, since I've managed to activate my root and my Earth chakra, or my super root, I immediately noticed, even the first experience I noticed it briefly, but in the second experience I noticed it much more deeply, regarding the grounding thing, that it unlocked a certain degree of physical abilities, balance and strength and tolerance to pain, like things like that. I noticed through activating the super root, and that I also realized that I did that through moving meditation. And putting all these pieces together, like I'm kind of now more, I used to be a fan of Bruce Lee, or I still am a fan of Bruce Lee, but some of the quotes of Bruce Lee and things Bruce Lee did suddenly make more sense to me, because now I realize that, the reason why, like, in a lot of the really, really, like the Tibetan monks and things like that, that they practice martial arts and stuff, is because that type of moving meditation is a way of, it has something to do with this Earth Star chakra, which is one of your transpersonal chakras that are outside your body. And really, even though like there's higher ones up than your soul star, I don't know, I don't think there's anything lower than your Earth Star, but maybe there is. But by attaching, or like, activating these chakras that lie outside of your body, is really like the most powerful work that you do on your chakras. And once you've united both of those, you enter the phase that I'm in currently, that I'm just kind of autopilot going through. Nobody taught me this, but I just realized it, is that, once you've ignited both of those poles, everything else in the middle wants to get worked out, and it becomes very acute when you have a blockage or a weak spot. And so you have to like cleanse the chakras, to allow this energy to flow between those two. But in activating the earth one, in activating the soul one, you get a lot of knowledge. You learn a lot instantly. But in activating the earth one, you become able to do a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like you have more physical ability to act on things and to actually, and your body becomes just, it does something that makes like things like martial arts and things, and yoga for that matter, physical things, just, it upgrades your ability to do them. So now I realize that a lot of the teachings and things that like Bruce Lee, and who was the most famous for it, probably there's a lot of people that maybe are more advanced, whatever, but they didn't decide to go into Hollywood or whatever. But I just have come to realize that there's like a lot there to do with like working with the chi, or the prana, for people who are more into yoga. I don't know, it's just it's an area of interest for me now, so I'm trying to uncover more there, because I just had some degree of revelation of why they actually, people who are focused completely on peace and non-confrontational and non-violence, non-doing in general, of why they practice martial arts. And like I realized that now. And so I've been more focused on learning something about that, because it's just an area of new revelation. And then JD says, I saw a picture of your time in jail. Laugh out loud, what landed you in jail? I got into a fight at a party over some very stupid bullshit. The guy left and came back with a bunch of his friends, and they jumped me, and I had a pocket knife, and I ended up defending myself with it, and 2 people were injured pretty severely. Nobody died, but yeah, that's the story in as YouTube friendly context as I can come up with. And I was looking at 27 to life, I ended up settling on a plea bargain of 4 years, and I paroled from Pelican Bay. So that's the prison story. And it looks like I am at the bottom of the chat. It's 10:30. It's been an hour and a half. I know it wasn't a 4-hour stream like some of our other ones, but I wanted to keep the algorithm strong since it seemed like the increased regularity of the streams. Also something I noticed when I was in Oregon when I was doing it regularly. They started feeding us to the shorts feed, which is sadly where I think we get a lot of the trolls. But I do think that we occasionally also bring somebody in who has no clue who I am and maybe is interested in what I'm saying. And for that reason, we're going to deal with the trolls, and we're going to be happy about being on the short stream, shorts feed. So I wanted to hop back in here since it's been a few days since that last stream, just to retouch base with you guys and try to keep the action going. You guys please share these streams or any part of these streams that you found provocative with your friends. There's a little clip thing, and I think it works better on the desktop, but there's a little scissors where you can make shorts from, like, remix the streams. If you want to go find things that you thought were cool, I will and make clips of them for the shorts feed. I will happily amplify exposure to that, and I think that it's just really important because at the end of the day, we really don't know if I'm going to get monetized when this is over. I might not, you know, if that happens, there's a good chance that I might start seeking my the part of my spiritual growth that requires me to help refine the other parts of myself, which is you. You know what I'm saying? Because ultimately, like, my spirituality, like, one of the main takeaways that I've gotten from it is that we are all one. And, you know, my most recent experiences were all experiencing very, very high degrees of unity. I've experienced unity on several levels now, and you know, I realize that the whole earth, all the plants, and even the humans on it are all part of my body, all part of my, you know, celestial body. And you know, in the same way that I'm trying to purify myself and grow myself and refine myself, I realize that myself is my higher self, not just my physical self, and that I have to do this within my physical self, but that I also have to do this within my higher self, which means that I have to help other people do it, because other people are part of my higher self, and they are the part of my higher self which I can affect the most. Let's keep it real, you know, while the trees and the plants and the bugs and the animals are all part of myself as well, I can't teach them the same things that I can teach you, or that I can help you think about. You know what I'm saying? And so by doing that, I realize that I am purifying and refining my higher self by trying to bring enlightenment to as many people as possible. And so it helps if you guys help it happen too. If you want it to happen, it's more likely to happen. And if you spread the word to more people, realize that you're more likely to benefit from me wanting that to happen, because you're helping it happen yourself. And it's like a cosmic fucking thing of how it all works. You know, it's a karmatic wheel. You know, like, if you're receiving something, there's a debt. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the one that says there's a debt. The universe says there's a debt. So you got to discharge that in some way, shape, or form. I don't care how you discharge it. I'm just telling you that you need to. That could be by giving to me so that I can continue doing this, or that can be by spreading this word to others so that they can find out about it. and that you can help the word get out, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. It can also just be you, taking it all seriously and practicing it on a regular basis, and even, praying and sending good vibes back to your source of that. There's a lot of ways to do it, but ultimately there is a debt created anytime that you benefit from something. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind. All right? I love you guys, and I will see you soon. All right?